Hi there, Yafid Atlas here, and here we are in Parsha Toldot, and in this week's Parsha we really get to see who is Esav. And in the first interaction between Esav and Yaakov that we actually really see in the Torah is right after Abraham has passed away. Now Abraham passed away at 175. He was actually supposed to live until 180, but 5 years were taken off from his life as a gift. That's right, as a gift, because Esav was so evil, and it was only a matter of time before the real Esav came out. And so Hashem saved him from seeing who the real Esav was. And on the day that Abraham died, Esav went crazy, and he did all the things that he'd always wanted to do that day. Now he comes and he sees Yaakov. Now what is Yaakov doing? He's making lentil soup. Now lentil is a traditional food for people who are mourning. So he's making lentil soup for his father, Yitzchak, because they're mourning the death of Abraham. Now Esav comes in and he says, "What are you doing?" And he says, "I'm making soup, obviously for our father, because he's mourning for our grandfather, Abraham, that has just passed away." Now, I want to reflect on and learn from the thought process that Esav has. Esav says, "What? Abraham passed away? Someone as righteous and as special as Abraham passed away at 175? That makes no sense. That makes no sense whatsoever, and it must be that God doesn't exist, and this whole thing is fake, and everything that he's always believed in, it doesn't add up." Now, why does Esav jump to those conclusions? Why does one thing bring him to such a far place? Oh, everything is fake, and that's all nothing. Instead of just reflecting on that one thing and maybe having an issue with that one thing. And that tells us a lot about Esav, which Esav was the type of person that when he asked a question, he wasn't actually asking. He had already the answers and the ideas in his head. And it's kind of like when somebody asks, "How are you? It's so nice to see you." And they don't really care how are you. They don't really want to know exactly what's going on in your life. Even if you're having the most difficult day, you're not going to answer that because it's not a real question. And that's who Esav was. He wasn't asking really what exactly had happened because he was already ready with the answer. There's a great story of one of the great rabbis who said to a student who said, "You know what? I'm no longer interested in having a relationship with God because things just don't add up." And the rabbi asked him, "Did you stop this relationship with God before you had the questions? Or was it after you already stopped having that relationship that you now have the questions?" And the student thought about it for a moment and he said, "Well, it was after I stopped pursuing that active relationship with God that I started having questions." So the rabbi said to him, "I can help you with answers to questions, but if you only have answers, I can't answer answers." And that's the type of person that Esav was. He already had the answer. He only needed one thing to throw him over the edge for him no longer to have that relationship with God. So what does that mean for us today? Knowledge. When we create that relationship with God, that's not just based on one thing, but so many touch points. We see God everywhere in the world, and we learn Torah, and we feel connected in so many different ways through every single holiday. Then we're able to build that relationship. But if we just have a relationship that's full of answers and no questions, it's not going to last. It's going to be easy to fall over. When there's one thing that doesn't go your way and it doesn't seem like, why could God do such a thing? We're gone. For us, we need to remember as the Jewish people, we need to be strong. And that means building a relationship, having that education, and continuing to experience every holiday and every new year in a different way, building up on the previous years. How can we do this? How can we start right now? Shabbat. Shabbat is the amazing opportunity to reconnect once a week and continue learning. And what better way to start with the Parsha? Shabbat Shalom.